Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit Show Sisterhood, the podcast where we explore the trauma of our past, how we survived it, and how we rebuilt in the aftermath. I'm your host, Jennifer Levins. I'm a quantum alignment coach and a Reiki master, and I'm currently working on my very first book, Surviving the Shit Show, a badass guide to thriving when your world is fucked up. All right, today's episode is called Setting Boundaries Like a Badass, Even When Your Family Sucks. To be honest, setting boundaries is really the easy part. It is the holding them that is where that real work comes in. Let me ask you guys this. How many times have you said never again? Only to let that same person, that same energy, that same bullshit back into your life, especially when it comes to family. Yeah, I know. I know because I've been there. I've been there. I've lived through it. I went there. I bought the damn t-shirt. I brought it home. I washed it. Of course it fucking shrank. And then, you know what? I set that whole motherfucking thing on fire. Because let's be real. We're taught from the time that we're really, really little that family is everything. We're told that over and over and over again. We're taught that blood is thicker than water, that you stick together no matter what. But recently, I actually learned the truth of that phrase, and it actually goes so much deeper than we originally thought. We are only getting a small part of what that phrase is drilled into our heads. The whole quote is actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. What that quote actually means is that the relationships that are built on shared human experiences are more precious than those inherited through the blood. So it actually means the opposite of what society has twisted it to mean. Because the covenant is built by those relationships that we commit to. And you know what? Those may not be family. Now, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for that. And you know what? That's fine. But I know, at least in my life, those covenant relationships have not come from the family that I inherited. They've come from people like my husband or my children or the multitude of friendships that I've developed into very deep sisterhoods. My quote unquote water of the womb relationships, unfortunately, those are the ones that have hurt me the most over the years. Because here's a bit of truth for you. Sometimes the people that share our blood are the ones who hurt us the most. And if someone is hurting you, then you don't owe them a damn thing. So today, I just want to talk to you guys about the hardest boundary that I ever had to set. It was with my sister, my own flesh and blood. And it was the moment that I had to tell her that for my own mental health, I could no longer have a relationship with her. One thing that you guys need to know from the get-go is that when shit gets tough, my sister's response is to run away. She takes off in the middle of the night and she's just gone, leaving the people that she left behind to pick up all of her mess. She has done this over and over and over again. Since I was around probably like 14 years old, she's been doing this. Unfortunately, she's been gone from my life more than she's actually been in it. She likes to spin this story that I left my family by moving to Michigan when I was 21. But the truth of that is that she's been gone from my life long before that. She has been gone in one way or another, whether it be in jail for months at a time, even sometimes years at a time, or, she just goes missing. She was in jail during the birth of my daughter, and she was actually missing the year that I got married and wasn't at my wedding at all. That's actually the time that I'm going to share with you guys today. So it was in 2007. Her and her boyfriend were living with my mom at the time. My mom literally woke up one morning and my sister, the boyfriend, and the entire contents of her jewelry box were gone. She, of course, freaked out because her apartment looked like there had been a struggle. Like there was shit knocked over, like her living room was a mess. And at the time, we had really suspected that the guy that my sister was with was being abusive to her, but we didn't have a way to confirm it. Our biggest fear at that time was that he had somehow hurt her because they were both just gone. None of her friends had heard from her. We couldn't find her. We made call after call. We called her job. We called, everywhere we could think of. And eventually we ended up filing a missing persons report, and even the police were coming up empty. Like they had just vanished. They were gone. This went on for about 6 months or so with no news whatsoever. Finally, we started to accept that she was maybe dead. We even started talking about, what we would do if she was and how we would go about memorializing her. That's a hard word to say, memorializing. um, then one day I got a call from her old employer saying that she had called asking about getting her W-2 for tax season and that she had left an address to mail it to. The employer was kind enough to give me the address, and the next day my mom and I took off kind of blind to this rando address in South Carolina. When we pulled up to the house, my sister came hobbling out on crutches from where this gem of a fucking guy that she was with had pushed her down the stairs. The house had no food in it. They had no electricity. And yet, even though we begged her to, she refused to come home with us. So, me being me at the time, still conditioned that family is best and that you do for family no matter what, even when they don't reciprocate, I went to Walmart and I bought them some groceries and I gave her money to go towards that power bill. I did all of this even knowing that I didn't have this money to give and that my husband was going to lose his shit that I had, gone through this $600 or given away this $600 when I got home, which he did. He freaked the fuck out. And you know what? 2 weeks after that, my sister was back in jail and she actually went to prison for the next 4 years. That was the first time that I remember her, quote unquote, ghosting our family, where she just sort of disappeared out of nowhere. Fast forward 10 years later, and I'm living in Michigan. I'm raising her son like he's mine. We are on this family vacation for spring break when I get the word from a friend of hers that she's gone missing again. By this point, I really had the routine down pat, unfortunately. And I started, doing the things. I started making the phone calls, texting her contacts, texting family and friends, and, just the works. When that didn't give me any information, didn't confirm anything, I started the next step of calling the hospitals and checking police stations and, even calling morgues. Like, there was a whole fucking system that I had to do every time she would run off to figure out if she was dead or in jail or just ran off with a friend. What the fuck? It was this whole fucking trauma loop that I had done just over and over and over again over the past 10 years. Finally, after 2 full days in the middle of my family vacation, I finally tracked her down. She had been arrested on a shoplifting charge and was being housed in a county jail. And you guys, oh, the rage that filled every single ounce of my soul in that moment. I was done. I got onto Facebook and I decided to just lay all of her shit bare. I wrote about all 17, and yes, I counted them 17 times since I was 14 years old that she had ghosted me or ghosted our family, that she had been arrested, that she had gone missing. And I backed every bit of it up with screenshots and emails and police reports and DMs and all the fucking things. I laid all her shit bare. And in that moment, in that post, I said, I'm done. I set a hard boundary that I would not allow her to do this to me anymore. And you know what? I kept that boundary for years. But life is sometimes a shit show, right? And a couple years ago, something happened with my son, the son that I share with her. And you know what? Out of respect for his story, I'm not going to share the details of what that was. But what ended up coming of it was we needed her to come back into his life. So after a lot of soul searching, I ended up letting her in again. It was really, really hard. And at first, I set a boundary that I would only talk to her about our child, and that was it. There would be no personal shit. We weren't going to be sisters. We were just, two people who were sharing a child, and we were going to keep it, strictly business. But over time, I betrayed my own boundary, like we tend to do when family gets involved. And for a while, it actually seemed like she had changed. 2 years went by and things were really good. We were talking on the phone almost every day. Things were just, I felt like I had a sister again. I felt like I truly had a sister. Then in October of last year, I had my big health scare that I've talked about, other times on this podcast. And at that time, she came to live with us. Then in February, she ghosted me again. If you guys want to hear that whole story, go listen to episode 2 of this podcast. I lay that all out for you guys. But this time, something just clicked for me. I was so incredibly done being hurt by her. I was done being disappointed. I could not keep letting her do this to me or to the child that, you know what, she may have given birth to, but that I have spent every moment of the last 10 years raising. So, you know what? I'm just going to say it like it is. Or to my child. I really think that that was probably the difference right there. I was no longer doing this just for me. It wasn't about me anymore. This time, this boundary has to be followed at all cost because this heartbreak isn't just mine to carry anymore. It's my son's too. And so, you know what? That made it easy. I didn't even have to question it this time. She doesn't get to hurt us anymore. Not me, not my son, not ever again. In the past, when I've set boundaries with her, I've always given in because, she's my child's biological mom, or because I want to believe that she's changed, or because she's my sister and we do for family no matter what. But at some point, enough has to be a fucking enough. I have spent years betraying what I felt in the deepest parts of my soul were the right things to do when it comes to her. I have always left the door half open, and every single time she has walked through that door and wreaked havoc on my life. This time, there's no going back. This time, I've let her become dead to me, and I've grieved her in my own way. This time, I am 100% comfortable with saying that I no longer have a sister. So, how did I build the resilience to finally let her and all of her bullshit go? Well, it wasn't easy, that's for damn sure. The first thing I did was really that grieving process. I cried a lot. I screamed a lot. I sat and just allowed myself to feel the guilt that I felt for letting her back in the first place. And then I journaled every truth that I had not yet allowed myself to admit up until that point. Things like, she doesn't love me the way that I need to be loved. She doesn't love my son the way that he needs to be loved. She's not a safe person for our family to be around. She hurts us every single time we let her back in. And looking at it that way made it so easy to make a decision. If someone is hurting your mental health and affecting your peace, and they're hurting your child, they don't get access to you. Period. I stopped accepting her excuses for her actions. I stopped trying to form any type of relationship with her. And honestly, I just went full on, what is it the kids call it nowadays? Okay, I'm old. I'm not hip. Right? But I went full on no contact. Is that what they call it? As much as I physically could. I made the decision that keeping the peace, quote unquote, at the expense of my own mental sanity wasn't peace at all. It was a prison that I would not allow myself to go to anymore. Now, Does that mean that I stopped loving her? No. And honestly, I probably never will. But what I started doing was loving myself more. So if you're listening right now and you're struggling with setting a boundary with someone that you love, let me say this. You are not a bad person for protecting yourself and your own mental peace. You're not cold or heartless or any of the other lies that they want to say about you. You are strong for standing up for yourself and for what you need to do to be happy and healthy. You're a motherfucking warrior for choosing you. You are so worthy of a life that feels good. And the people who make it hard for you to do that don't actually love and care about you the way that you've probably been conditioned to believe they do. And if setting that boundary feels hard as hell for you, which it probably will, just remember what it feels like when you don't set it. Do you really want to live in that space anymore? If you need help working out the hows and the whys of setting your badass boundaries, I'm always available. The best way to reach me right now as I work on my new website, I'm getting there, it's under construction, shit's happening. Just bear with me, it's taking a while. But if you need to reach me while I'm working on this new website, the best way to reach me is going to be through Facebook or Instagram DMs. You can find me on Facebook under Jennifer Levins, and then you can find me over on Instagram under my newly branded company name, which I'm really excited about, the Feral Healing Company. All right, you guys, that's it for today's episode. Just short, sweet, and to the point. If this episode hits home for you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And maybe write a review in the comments. The more that we share, the more people we're going to reach. And the more people we reach, that's more people that we can help heal. It's a whole vicious cycle that honestly I can't do by myself. So please, please share this episode. Until next time, my friends, keep protecting your peace because it is so very, very sacred. And always remember, you are enough, you are worthy, and you are so very loved. I love you guys. Bye.